Okay, so now that we have created the Spring Boot project and we have created a feature branch that we are actually working on the first release, let's go ahead and import the project into STS. So let's head over to the Finder and let's go into the download section. Let's extract the Spring STS and it's ready to be copied over to the DevOps folder. So let me go ahead and copy that, and it should be copied to the DevOps folder. So once it's copied, let's go ahead and double click on the STS app. It's going to ask for a warning. You can ignore that and go ahead and open STS. So the first thing it's going to ask you is to ask for a location where it wants to create the workspace. And like we have been doing, we're going to create the workspace under DevOps folder. Now I'm going to call it workspace-spring. You can choose to name it anything that you want, but the standard way to create or name the workspaces are using workspace as the prefix. So let's go ahead and expand this, and it's going to try to do the dashboard. Let's go ahead and minimize everything so that we have the real estate that we need. And let's go ahead and import the project that we just created in the earlier section. So it's a Maven project. So we're going to do existing Maven project. Say next. And I'm going to browse to the location of that project. So that's under GitHub, and the project is called DevOps. It's going to select the POM XML. I'm not going to select a working stat because there's only one project that we are dealing with at this point. So we're just gonna choose the default option and let it actually import the project. So while that is doing, let's make a small tweak about the preferences. Whenever I want to save a file, I usually make sure that there are certain actions that get taken care of. One is the formatting the code, two is the organization of the import, and three, any override notations that I need to add. Okay, so this has been imported. You can see here that it's a Spring Boot enabled project. The name of the project is DevOps, and it's on a feature branch called NV101 landing page. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to make sure that the JUnit test is running fine. And it's going to run the default test that tests the application context, and everything seemed to be correct. There is a small customization that I usually do is change the color of the console just to have a contrast in case there is an error that shows up in red. So once that's done, let's make sure that we can run this as a Spring Boot app. The benefit of running this as a Spring Boot app is you don't need to deploy this code to Tomcat every time you make a change. You can enable the DevOps tools that's part of the Spring Maven plugin, and any code change that you make will be immediately available. So it reduces the amount of time that you need to stop the server, restart the server, and look at your change. You can see the change immediately after you make a change. So one of the things that you'll notice that is I have started the application and it's running on port 8080. If I go to the browser and I go to 8080, I'm going to get a page not found, which is fine. I don't need to worry about what it is doing right now because it's actually not deployed, right? So I'm going to customize this. I'm going to stop this. And the first thing I want to change is I want to customize where this runs. So remember, we have the Tomcat app server that we are going to use for continuous integration is also running on port 8080. So I want to change this so that this runs on a different port. So server configuration, there are other configurations that you can do, but right now I'm just going to do server port, and I'm going to set it as 8088. Okay, so what that will do is you'll be able to run your Spring Boot project on 8088, validate everything looks good, and then you can actually go through the deployment process. So there is a small bug with the STS version that I have downloaded, and it has to do with auto import. So whenever you open up a file within an IDE, the Spring STS or even Eclipse provides a pretty neat feature where you can actually do Control-Shift-O and it's going to organize the imports. But that specific thing has been broken with the version of Spring STS that I have. Okay, so let's go ahead and take care of that. So you can just go to Preferences, and I've put in the section notes where you can actually follow the steps if you have the same issue. But go into Keys, click on Filter, do Filter Uncategorized Commands, say OK, and in here type to go to symbol in file, and then select that, unbind command, say apply, and close. Okay, so that should take care of the bug within Spring STS version 3.9.0 release. So we are set up with Spring STS and we have imported the project. We are good to go with the next section where we'll be actually doing some additional coding.